I love all of you, and JR loves all of you. And you know, Philadelphia, you have been such a part of this healing journey with me because I don't know where Drayton is. Where is that guy? Drayton. Drayton called me every week after JR passed and kept me busy, and we booked seminars just the first week of October, didn't we? We stayed busy being around positive thinking and doing things that JR would want me to do. And I have to tell you, a lot changes in a year, doesn't it? And, well, this week, approaching on Wednesday, is a huge reminder to me how life changed so quickly, so suddenly, because you saw my husband give one of the greatest performances of his life on this very stage. On this very stage, he left all he had for 30 years. He performed on this very stage. And all those pictures and videos and all the things that you saw happened right here. And so I'm grateful. And I want to talk about being grateful for a moment because I don't think we really realize what it's like to be grateful till after we lose things. You know, when you think about all that we have, like cell phones, right? Cell phones. Imagine someone had taken away your cell phone. It's like, what will we do without our phones right now to communicate? Or our iPads, our children, they'd have full meltdowns. Or Ubers, right? There was a lot more DWIs back then, right? We have so much to be grateful for in life. But until we lose it, we never really realize it. And I think in this journey of grief, I've learned so much about people. I've learned so much about what you thought were friends. And then you find out who your real friends are. And I wanted to take a moment to thank my family, my beautiful daughter, my grandchildren, Amber, who have been there with me every day and made sure I didn't have to sleep alone for the last year. And I'm grateful for you. You are amazing. You're amazing, and your dad would be really proud of you today. Really proud of you. And Ava, I see you right there, my granddaughter. Can we just give my granddaughter the biggest round of applause? She never left her seat this weekend. She never left her seat. And by the way, I want you to get rowdy with me this afternoon. So if you see one person stand up, the rule is everybody stands up. You support everybody. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about the community we've built, right? Right, Rich, right, Drayton, right, Team Philadelphia. That's what we do. We support everybody. So when you see one person get up, we all get up. Ava, thank you. Because for some reason, I know that Pop-Up sent you to be right by my side this weekend. And I want to thank my incredible brothers, Mark and Steve, who Mark just kept everything going, as always, helping picking up all the pieces, and Steve and my sister. And you just have so many more grateful things that you never think about. My beautiful friends, Natalia and Mary and Andrew, those of you who were there every night, Christian, Lala, you know who you are, that you were there. And I know it's hard to understand. People think it's like, hey, I hope you're feeling better now. Like, yo, bro, I didn't have a cold. I've been with my husband for 37 years. We never slept alone because we had a rule, if you get in a fight, you couldn't go to bed mad. And I think that was part of the formula for our success. Jer was a perfect gentleman. And even in his last moment, we were doing his favorite thing on a yacht, on the water. And he was watching the videos of you all when he was on stage. And just like a gentleman, he walked away for a second and took a deep breath. And that was the last time I ever saw him. Listen to me. Time moves fast. Everything changes. But I want to assure you that our number one product is still belief. Our number one product is still belief, and I hope this weekend rejuvenated you and brought you back to life as it has for me. Even for me, for a moment. I hope it's brought you back and rejuvenated you and given you something to believe in. And I hope that you'll have a breakthrough. I hope that you'll keep growing. I hope you'll keep progressing. Because all we have is time, and yet we can't get any more of it. And it's later than you think. You see, I've never experienced a pain like this. I know grief really well. I lost my mother at our first annual convention, and that was heartbreaking for me because I was 21 years old. I had a 7-month-old daughter, and many of you leaders were there with me. Elizabeth, at my mother's funeral at the first annual convention, there was about 200 people, and she had a massive heart attack. And I never thought Mark and I and Stevie and Brand would get over that because we were such a close family. But somehow or another, through a lot of therapy and hard work, we got through it. But that grief was painful. Then I lost my father about 10 years later. And my father was a tough dad. He wasn't always the type of dad that you necessarily want to have. But, you know, we've always been forgivers in my family. People give the best that they can. And so we always learn to work with it. And he ended up being wonderful. And later in life, he ended up being a big proponent of this organization and a big supporter of it. And when I lost him, I suffered because I felt like it was the end of an era, an end of a decade. Where did I belong? Who was I with? But when I lost JR, it was a different level of grief. The type of pain that you cannot describe, the pain that lives inside your soul and your heart every second of your life. And nothing ever makes that pain go away. And so while I know that I'll never quite be the same, I know what he would want. He would want me to still show up for him, show up for you. And although nobody wants to step in JR's shoes, and I'm certainly not trying to, I will do what he asked me to do, which is step in this position, in this role as a CEO, and do what I need to do in order to take this company to the next level and into the future. That is my plan, that is my goal, and that is what I will do. I love you guys. And I want to talk to you, as Drayton knows, about one of mine and JR's favorite topics. Most of you know that JR and I always had the same theme, didn't we, Andrew? And it's so weird because 2 weeks before conference, we would never really communicate about what our plans were to speak about. We would just get together a few days before, Dane, I don't know where his area is, a few days before, and we said, what are you talking about? Somehow or another, we'd always be on the same page, right, Andrew? And he'd always be like, here's my presentation, and here's yours. He'd take mine, I'd take his. And we worked together on it. So we always talked about 3 things, always. And the themes were, because Jared talked in themes, time, love, and death. Why? Because everybody wants more time. And Jared's big belief was love is all we need. And the last thing is that we're all going to die. All 3 things we have in common. So I want to explain something to you that I want to mention to you that is not only important for you to understand for me, but it's important for you to understand. Because we're in this together. As you progress forward, I'm rebuilding belief in myself again too. And so we can do this together. We can be better than ever. But I want you to understand something. Often you'll hear the statement, time heals all. Let me explain something to you. Don't use that. Time doesn't heal shit. It don't heal shit. Let me tell you something about time. Time doesn't heal at all. It does nothing but go on. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't bring comfort. It doesn't know how to console or mend a broken heart. All that time does is continue to move forward. Move forward on me and move forward on you. Right, Brett? That's what it does. So you got to do something with the time right now. That's what you got to do. That's all you got to do. You got to move forward and you got to do something now. This is your life. It's your life. Market your life. We got to do something now. I see you, Kevin. I see you, Rich. I see all of you guys from Taiwan. I love you. I love you. Your commitment to be here is remarkable. Your commitment to be here, every single one of you, it's a magic moment. I will never be able to fill his shoes, but I promise you together we'll keep his legacy alive. I will never marry another man. I never look at another man. I love my husband. Somebody told me, Ben Affleck told me the other day, actually, I'll tell you, he said it. Ben Affleck told me the other day, he said, imagine what it's like to have that type of love. Imagine that you don't have to search ever again to find what it knows like to feel that type of love. I wish you the same. I want the same for you. But right now, I want you to focus on you. Today, I want you to focus on you, because let me tell you something. We've all had a lot of crises in our life. I've had so many crises, I can't even name them all. And none of them ever happened until this moment of my life. We make such a big deal about the big deals that aren't big deals. We got to stop complaining. The only person holding you back is you. The only person holding you back is you. I got to tell you, JR was never sick. He was never sick. He was the healthiest guy I know, and he should still be up here today. And if it wasn't for the government telling us what to do with these needles and these viruses and taking vaccines, he'd still be here. He'd still be here. You make your own decision. I don't need the government to tell me how to take care of my body. I'm done with that. I'm done with that. You take care of your body. I love you, Philadelphia, you know. We so in this together. We in this together. Let me tell you something. The only people you got to protect yourself from is out there. Because in this environment, everything's different. Everything's different. JR would say that the joy is in the journey. So fast car rides, Wendy's super bars, stops at graveyards to look at tombstones, to remind us that we're living the dash. Traveling as astronauts to outer space, living with a part-time brain surgeon, to real-life brain surgery with me. Everything. From hissing in our pits, to walking a tightrope, to keeping everything balanced. Running on hamster wheels, to raising hamsters with his grandchildren. Keeping everything on time while he smashed our alarm clocks. And of course, he'd picked up and saved the starfish along the way. That's what we did. It was all part of our 3.5 decades together, and I would never change it for a moment. He did everything with love and enthusiasm, and he always put the big rocks in first. He taught us that we have to put ourselves first. You know, it's interesting when I think about JR. I think we didn't find each other until we were ready. And Drayton, that's something I really agree with you and your team with. Stop worrying about getting into relationships that aren't healthy for you. Stop worrying about looking for the right person and start looking for you. Start looking for you. And until you find the right person, you stick with you. And when you find the right person, that right person will go on that journey with you. And that right person will be behind you and pushing you and telling you that you can do anything you want to do, because you have the power to be anything you want to be. That's who you are. That's who you are. You are the most remarkable people on the planet. What other place do you know, as Jared would say, Andrew, what other place do you know where all these crazy people would come together in one room and lift each other up? Lift each other up. Let me tell you something. Growing old together wasn't in the cards for JR and I, but growing together was. And we did that, and we will continue growing, because as sure as I stand here, I know he's right there with me, always. And I now understand what JR meant when he would say this company is bigger than him. Let me ask you a question. What company do you know that actually survives its CEO and all of the people in it? How many companies do you know are still out there paying every single check on time every week. Thank you, corporate team. I am so grateful for you because while I went through this, you made everything keep going. You kept going through everything. Let me tell you, they're the best team on the planet. The best team on the planet. Best team on the planet. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough that we lost Dennis 18 months ago, and then almost 12 months ago, Wednesday lost JR. And my corporate team hasn't stopped. And Mark Ashley, you are the most incredible president and COO of a company that I've ever seen. And Steve Ashley, today you smashed it on stage. JR was looking down and was proud. I'm so proud of you. You are incredible. And I think the most amazing thing of all is that JR will continue to change the lives of thousands of people because the legacy of supplemental income. I really do believe that. I want to tell you, imagine what it was like for me at the age of 18 years old meeting JR. I'm 54 years old. At 18 years old, I met my husband. First 3 weeks I was dating him, he picked me up and took me to a graveyard. I had no idea what I was dealing with. I thought for sure Drayton, he was a psychopath. I had no idea, Brett, what he was going to do to me. I thought maybe for sure he was getting ready to bury me, Mark Bernanke, in the ground. Then I started to learn that this is this guy's protocol. Where our days weren't going to be fancy restaurants, they were going to be fancy graveyards. And I remember in the early days, as Mark well does, and we would drive from place to place, city to city. And all along the way, I think JR dated me in the early days because I drove. I stopped driving 25 years ago. But in the early days, he liked somebody else to drive, and we'd listen to Billy Joel, and then listen to his tapes in between, then listen to Billy Joel, and then listen to his tapes in between. And we'd go to these meetings, and there'd be 4 or 5 people back in the early days. This is right before, I would say, maybe September of '92. And Amber was recently born, and we were really, this was even earlier than that, okay? And we would go to these places, and I remember watching him speak in front of these people, 4, 5, 6 people at a meeting, and he'd be up there just shaking, writing the plan up on the board, talking about how one day people are going to buy their clothes, their vitamins, their hair, shampoo, and conditioner online. And I got to tell you, at 18 years old, I tried to have great vision, but I just couldn't get it. And certainly the people in the crowd couldn't because nobody even had a computer back then. People are going to buy their clothes online. They're going to buy their shoes and their vitamins and their hair care and their cosmetics. And everybody was like, this guy's crazy. And so he would just tell it just like he would tell it for 6 people as he would in front of 10,000. Didn't matter to JR. It really didn't matter. And when I think about that, I remember being, wow, this guy's special. Because when I looked around the room, people really, Kevin, weren't paying attention to him. You know what I mean? They were thinking he was kind of crazy. So when we would leave the room and get ready to get in the car to head out, and I'd be like, wow. And I was kind of feeling bad because I knew that nobody really said yes. And I'd be like, well, where are we going next? He was like, what a great meeting, huh? And I was thinking, are you at the same meeting I am? And he would say, wow, what a fabulous meeting, Brett. This is amazing, Loren. Those people, I said, well, the thing is that I didn't hear anybody get really excited. In fact, they were a little confused, and we didn't really have the good products to show them, and we don't have any real tests. Oh, it doesn't matter. I just practice on those people. Here's the thing, we got to start practicing. We're getting ready to have a big company, Loren. Company's going to be so big, we got to practice on everybody we can come across. In fact, you're going to start practicing at the next meeting when we pull up in Dallas. And I thought to myself, oh, hell no, this ain't going to work. At 18, I had never spoken in front of a group before. Most people know that even today, that the things that most people are scared of is public speaking. In fact, most people would rather die than publicly speak. That's the craziest thing. So he's like, oh, you're going to be fantastic. I was like, I'm not sure if I should do that. Like, maybe I should practice a few times. I've never done it before. Oh, it'll be simple. You'll get up there for 5 minutes, tell about the company, and we'll get them excited. I've always believed, Loren, that a woman should lead from the front. Now, my husband was a big believer in women, okay? Always. Always. I was scared out of my mind. And I was thinking, God, I can't complain much more because he wanted me to do it. So I got up there and I said, hi, my name is Loren Ashley. And then that was it. I just fell to the ground and passed out. True story. By the time I came around, I saw JR standing over me. And he's like, somebody turned the AC on in here. You made it so hot this girl passed out. What's wrong with you people? Don't you know how to turn the AC up in here? JR would never let you feel bad about what you did. His belief in you was so strong that he believed you could do it no matter what. He would make excuses about anything, but he would never, ever let you feel bad, would he, Brett? He'd tell you how great you were anyway. And that's the greatest thing about J.R. Reitinger. And honestly, the next meeting was San Antonio. Now, by the way, when I got back in the car, I was like, God, he's never going to ask me to speak again. Thank God. When we got back into the car, Mariah, I got back in the car, and he said, well, we're on our way to San Antonio. I can't wait for you to do this again. I'm thinking to myself, this guy is out of his mind. Brett, he's out of his mind. But you know what he did? Mark Bernanke, he instilled belief in me. And had he not made me get back up, I would have never spoke again. He pushed me and said, you can do this. You're going to be great. So I get back up there and I'm like, good evening. My name is Loren Ashley Reitinger. Loren Ashley at the time. And my name is Loren Ashley. Did I tell you what my name was? It's Loren Ashley. And we have this company. It's called, and I did that for like 15 minutes. Total disaster. When I got in the car that night, I'm telling you, for 15 minutes, I spoke what should be 5 minutes and never got anything out except who I was. By the time we got in the car, he told me I was the greatest speaker he had ever heard. When you think about being birthed, it makes you think for a moment. Just sit back for a second and think about what we do to society, to our children, to the people around us. What if we instilled that type of belief every day in somebody around us? What if we made people feel like anything was possible? That no matter how awful they sounded like I did, that you were possible, Rich, that you were able, Kevin. What if we made people feel like that, Shell? What a big difference the world would be. Think about that for a moment. JR didn't care if people joined. You can clap right over me. You know I'll keep talking with you. JR didn't care who joined and who didn't. Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? That was his philosophy of life. And he left a mark on my life and developed me as the person. And we should all be so lucky to have somebody breathe that type of belief inside of you. So I'm grateful, JR. For the rest of my life, I'll be grateful for you. And let me tell you, thank you. I will be forever grateful. Let me tell you, he left his mark on your life. I know. I want to talk to you about that for a minute. It's not easy for anybody to run a company of this size. And when a billionth of a vote went off in JR's mind, he went berserk and he went crazy with Market America. He was going to make it big along the way, he would tell me. And more importantly, it never went without finishing the sentence that I'm going to help thousands of people along the way. It's all he cared about. He never quit. He never gave up. He never gave in. He left everything he loved and everything he did right here on this stage with you. He was one of you. He was a builder, a disruptor, a creator, and a visionary. And he never forgot where he came from. It was not easy to succeed in our business. It was an awesome responsibility. Tens of thousands of people making a full-time income and a part-time income, and those checks have to go out weekly. Think about that. 150,000 independent UFOs, 900 full-time employees, 8 countries, and we take it very, very seriously. We take it very, very seriously, and he had to make sure it worked for both the company and the UFO. He kept us in safe harbor, met regulations, balanced it all or it would fall apart, and he kept it all together and taught us well for 30 years. Hundreds of other companies went to the graveyard. So let me tell you something about J.R. Reitinger. He was right when he said, if you can't build this one, you can't build any of them, because we're the most efficient, highest paying, most extraordinary company with the most extraordinary people to get paid what they're finally worth, period. And we're changing society because we hang out with people who make shit happen. That's who we are. Period. I love you. I love you. You know how much I love you. How amazing was this team? This is the future. This is the future. This is the future, and I love you guys. I love all of you. I love you, all of you. Let me tell you something. Here's what I know now. Everything we gain, James, in life will disappear one day. Everything we love in life will disappear one day. And hopefully you'll put away some money for your family and the people you need. But most importantly, what will be left is what's in your heart. What you left to the world. And I think you'll agree with me that J.R. Reitinger served the world in the most beautiful ways. And if you heard on the opening video, he said, I wanted to be somebody. I didn't want to be nobody, so I became somebody. And all I wanted to be remembered for was changing the most people's lives. And that's exactly what he did. That is exactly what JR did. And you should stand up for that one. Because he is the most amazing person in the world. He served the world for better. He served the world for better. And even at the last moment, he was thinking of you. Even at the last moment, he was thinking of me because he walked away just like a gentleman and didn't want me to see that. Who does that? I've been through a lot of counseling. I never really was in therapy much in my life because I always thought JR was my therapist. JR said, baby, if you have a problem, I'll help you out. But as Andrew knows, I go to counseling 3 or 4 days a week because this hole has left a big empty gap, and I have to work through it all myself. And most of it's like, things you just miss about the person you love more than life. The things that, JR would tell me, and I don't know if I ever told you this, JR would tell me he loved me at least 40 times a night. Every time we would turn over in bed, he'd say, baby, turn over. I love you. I say, I love you too. Baby, can you turn to the left? My shoulder hurts. I love you. Love you too. And we did that a lot every night. So in grief counseling, you often hear other people's stories, because I've tried it always. I've tried it by myself. I've tried it with people. I try to do whatever I can to try to make myself feel better about my personal life, because the business I can still function, but the personal life is hard. So I'm listening to these people who've lost their homes, right? And they've lost their cars. They've lost everything. These are people whose husbands or wives die, and they have no way to pay the bills, no way to drive their cars. Their cars get repossessed. They have no food to eat. They have no way to live. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy kept everything for all of us. He kept this company so financially strong that we never have to worry about it again. Think about that. Think about that. He kept it all together. We are so financially strong. Thank God for JR. I am grateful to you, baby. I love you. I love you. He left this company so financially strong with all the I's dotted, Joe, right? All the T's crossed. Nobody had to worry about things with the company going into probate, things going wrong. He had everything worked out. I never even knew. I spent half my life looking for keys and phones, his wallet. Little did we know that he had every I dotted, every T crossed, everything was written out, lined up. He was such a visionary that he had the future written on paper. He explained what inflation was. He left memos everywhere. I had no idea. I think I've showed some of it to Drayton and his team when we did seminars back early in October. Let me tell you something. We're stronger than ever. One thing I know is the best way to love someone is not to change them, but instead to reveal the greatest version of themselves. And I truly believe that Jared and I did that for each other. And we were different. We marched to a different drum. We liked being alone. We liked spending time by ourselves. We didn't go separate away and go hang out with our friends. We hung out with our friends together. And as I told you before, he taught us well that the team and he and I will be great servants to the world, and this team has served this company so well over the last 12 months. There is nobody I know who would do what you guys did. There has been no time for grief, as Mark Ashley said on the stage today. No time to even have a moment to say, I'm in pain. No time for a moment to say, I'm suffering. No time for anything. Everybody just got up and went back to work so you could get your check every single week. That's what happened. And let me tell you, that's a big time thing. Listen, that's a big time thing. But let me tell you, with all I know and all the suffering personally, I know one thing for sure, that the greatest days that this company sees and your greatest days are still ahead of you. It is just the beginning. You have to stop waiting, stop wishing, and let's start right now. Today's our first day. We're both on the way to healing, fixing ourselves, getting back on track. There's been a shortage of belief in people in this world, Jared used to say. You stay in this atmosphere, and that changes. You stay in this atmosphere. You hear us talking about the atmosphere a lot. The reason why we do that is we don't want you to leave it. We know what happens when you leave it, right, Beth? It's not a good thing. You got to stop riding around with your handbrakes on. Fear will always be a player in your life. You can be anything you want, but you've got to decide from this moment and stop blaming this on everybody else. The only person who has stopped you is you. You're the only person who's been in your way. Stop saying, I don't have time. You know who doesn't have time? JR. You better stop saying I don't have time, because we're all born with the same amount of time. 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 31 days a month. What time do you not have? JR ran out of time. Stop saying it. It's not right. You have lots of time right today, here and now. Here and now. Stop saying, I'm going to wait till Monday. Nobody remembers who you are when you say that. I hate that. Stop saying that. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I've seen you at your worst. And I'm going to see you at your best, and you're not stuck. You can do this. It's on you. You're just committed to a certain set of patterns and behavior that have helped you before, but those don't help you anymore. And you need to change things. And you need to make changes. And you need to do things. You know, one thing I saw this weekend, because it was really hard for me to get up here till today, and I kept thinking, what a feat for me just to be here. And I was like, I didn't know at the last second if I could even walk up here. But one of the things I love doing was watching all of you who did take the stage. You did such a phenomenal job. But one thing I heard very loud and clear, Philadelphia, is how you guys support each other. And I got to tell you, listen to me carefully. I'm not doing this for an applause. Pay attention. It's a recipe for success. Watch what they do when they flip the slides. They turn the slides and they put a photo of somebody in their group up there talking about what they did and give them a lot of love. Everything they do is supporting and lifting each other up, building them as a person. It's something we should all be copying. It's a recipe for success, and I honor you, and I am so in awe with what you're doing. Keep growing, keep going. Don't stop. I love this. It's beautiful. You guys got it. You got it. You know, you're amazing. So many people. I love you. I love you. So many. I love you guys so much. I'm proud of you. I really am. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing, especially in a younger generation, to see so many people lift each other up. Let me tell you something. When I was 18 and met JR, there wasn't other 18-year-olds hanging out with JR and I. Other 18-year-olds were out. Then they were 21. There was no 21-year-olds, right, Joe, hanging out with us. Everybody was out. Everybody was out partying. I love your set of standards. I love what you stand for, who you stand for. And let me tell you something. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything. You got to have a certain set of expectations and standards that you're going to live your life by, and everybody else will either fall into place or fall to the wayside. That's up to you. Does that make sense? So many people know a side of you from your past, a version of you that doesn't exist anymore, that shouldn't exist anymore. And this is the only business I know that says you don't have to tear someone down in order to make it. You get to say, you can't compete with me. I want you to win too. That's the greatest thing about our organization. I'm going to start early. I'll go to bed late, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. It takes work, and guess what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. Let me tell you something. Wall Street Journal wrote the other day that we have 75 great quality years to live. Quality. 75 years if you're lucky. 75 summers, 75 winters, 75 springtimes, 75 autumns. When you look at it like that, it's not that much time, is it? What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? We have this crazy notion that, Mark, if we look into the future, we're going to save the best for last. We'll do it later when we get to the end of life. Andrew, save the best for last for what? You don't know when last is. Do you not just see what we went through? You don't know when last is. You get up and do something for you right now. You got to leave here with a different type of feeling. You got to move different. You're going to act different. You got to show up for you. Because let me tell you something, nobody else is showing up for you. You got to do it for you. You move different. You got to get your hat out of the rat race. Forget about all the superficial shit. And forget about all the things that don't matter and the people that don't matter. And get back to what's important right now. You got to become a seeker. You got to become a seeker. You got to take chances. You got to believe in yourself. Start spending more time with people you love and do things that will make a difference in your life. It's a beautiful thing. Let me tell you something. As I said, stop saying that the future is going to mean more than the present. You've got to stop saying that you're saving the best for last. You got to allocate the time right now. Right now. It's got to be so amazing that you don't want it to ever end. Your day to day has got to be so amazing that you don't ever want it to stop. I don't want this day to end. I don't want to lose this day. And you got to make today matter. Stop worrying about tomorrow. Make each day matter and stop saving the best for last, because we don't know when that is. You're the gatekeeper. You got to keep your foot on the pedal, and there's no limit to the ceiling. There's no limitation. It's you and only you decide. And you got to decide where you're going. You got to create a plan and move out and step out of your head. We are so lucky to be born in this time of information, technology. You can do anything you want with this great company. Let me tell you something. I am forever grateful to my husband. I am forever grateful. And I hope that you'll start living life in a different way and realize how important it is to be grateful. But you know who wasn't grateful? Mrs. Pot. I want to talk to you about Mrs. Pot. You see, little Johnny the python snake, he wanted to just be a great python. So he wanted to go out and hiss in the pit just like a python does. He just wanted to have a lot of fun. So he went out in the python pit, started hissing around because he knew it was a great python, and he just started hissing around having a jolly old time. Yes, he did when his mom came out back and said, hey, what's all this noise out here? Saw Johnny hissing around in the python pit. Johnny said, Johnny, what are you doing? Why are you out here hissing in my pit? You can't hiss in my pit. This is my python pit. If you want to hiss in a pit, you got to go over to Mrs. Potts' pit and hiss. And he said, Mom, I don't want to go over to Mrs. Potts' pit and hiss. I'm a python. I want to hiss in my own pit. Listen, Johnny, you can't hiss in my pit. You got to go over to Mrs. Potts' pit and hiss in her pit. So here little Johnny did. A snake went over there just as happy as he could be. Started hissing around in Mrs. Potts' pit, having a jolly old time when Mrs. Potts came out and said, Johnny, what are you doing? What are you thinking? You can't be hissing around in my pit. I'm not a python. This is my pit. Johnny, get out of my pit and go back to your python pit and hiss around in your pit. You can't be hissing in my pit. You just can't be here. You got to go back to your own pit and hiss around, Johnny. Johnny went back to his house, started hissing around, having a jolly old time, just having a great old time when his mother came out and said, Johnny, what are you doing hissing in my pit? Said, Mom, she said, Ma, I told you to go over to Mrs. Potts' pit and hiss. Why did you come back? This is my python pit. If you want to hiss, go over to Mrs. Potts' pit and hiss. Johnny said, well, I did go over to Mrs. Potts' pit and hiss. I started hissing around, having a jolly old time. When she sent me and told me, you go to your python pit because I'm not a python. You can't hiss in my pit. So I came back to my pit, Mama, and I started hissing around, having a jolly old time, and that's where I am. And his mama said, do you mean to tell me that she said that to you? He said, well, yes, ma'am. She said, well, I'll be doggone. I'll remember when Mrs. Pot didn't have a pit to hiss in. I wanted to make him proud. I wanted to make him proud. Our job is to have a lot of fun, and we're going to hiss in a lot of people's pits. I love you guys. That was not easy, but I was not going to disappoint. And I know I want us to have a lot of fun. I want us to do things. I want you to approach this differently. I want you to stop playing it like it's a hobby. I want you to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want you to be tired of listening to your boss. I want you to finally do something for you. I want you to change the vernacular. I want you to stop treating this like a side business. I want you to stop treating it like a part-time thing for you. Even if you have to work during the day, I want you to come home and treat this as your thing. This is your thing. This is the thing that's going to change your life for the better. Look at these people in this room. Don't you want to be one of these people up here collecting these checks, guys? This is for you. You wouldn't be here otherwise. I'm going to hiss in your pit all afternoon, okay? And nobody try to put any timers up here because I'm not on your clock. You're on mine. Okay? I'm on mine. Thank you. This is our time to win, isn't it? This is our time to win. Growth and comfort do not coexist. It takes hard work to get where we're going, right, Elizabeth? It wasn't just a 90-day fast track, like Steve said. She did the 90-day fast track for 30 years. And she did it over and over and over again. And if you're going through hell right now, you're on your way to success. I got to tell you, because that's what it looks like. I don't know a person, if you listen to that statement from Drayton up there and the sacrifices that people are making in order to change their life, would you like to be making a director's check like he is? Would you like your people to be making money like he is? Or these people, all these challenge winners, I love you guys. You're out there making it happen. All these high pin levels who keep regenerating and doing the same thing, and you're not resting on your laurels. It's a battle in the mind. One wants to stay. One wants them to go and grow. So many fragile people and can't handle making it. And we got to start moving. Our growth comes from our losses. What will happen if you don't turn your pain into a point? You have no idea how limitless life can be when you stop worrying about what other people think and you start to realize how little they do. It can change with a choice today. And if you don't decide, I've often said you've already made a decision. And I don't care if you have to inch your way and it's hard and no one sees what you're going through and it will hurt. But this time, I'm going to do it with you. I'm going to do it with you. We're going to do it together. We are going to build better than ever before. Kevin Buckman and I are getting ready to hit the road together. We're getting ready to stop up in people's homes. We're getting ready to show the business. A lot of people are growing out in the field. Listen, you cannot live your life based on what other people think or do. You cannot do that. I hate when a person says, I can't do it today. My sister's friend's mother's, grandma's, brother's, grandson's uncle fish died, and it's tragic. I mean, you get the dumbest stuff you've ever heard. Or I don't have time is the grown-up version of the dog ate my homework. It's ridiculous. We're adults. The people who don't have time is this guy. When are you going to realize that? I'm going to bet on you. I want to bet on you. And I got to tell you, you got to stop worrying about what other people think because most of it's not real. And I got to tell you, I've had a great partner over the last year. Andrew and I have both actually been suffering a great deal, helping each other getting through this grief because he spent a great deal of time with Jared and I every single day and night. And if you don't mind, I'd love to bring up Andrew Weissman. He did such a phenomenal job today.
Doing beautiful. Doing so good.
And you know, we kind of been there a lot for each other over the last 12 months. And, you know, we spent a lot of time together and, you know, really trying to focus on the positive. And we were at home the other day at my house, and the newspaper came out, and we read this incredible story, guys. And it was this guy who was 87 years old. And he called up his friend Danny. He said, Danny, we're 87 years old. We got to start living, man. Have you heard about this thing called Facebook? Danny's like 87. Not really, hadn't heard of Facebook. He's like, well, man, it's amazing. I mean, we're not getting any younger. We're 87 years old, man. We don't have many friends that are still living. We got to meet some new people. You go on this thing called Facebook, and you start sharing photos of your dogs, your meals, your cats, your gardening, your friends. And before you know it, you get new friends. Everybody gives you a like. It's amazing. You get likes everywhere you go, right?
Exactly.
It was a pretty amazing story. Yeah, he gives the thumbs up. He's like, you know, Danny, it's incredible. You got to get a computer. All we got to do, man, is go on Facebook, and you start getting thumbs up when you share all the things that you do and conversations that you do. Well, I got to tell you, Danny did not want to get a computer, and he didn't know social media very well. So he's 87 years old. So he said, you know what, I'm going to try to go out and apply the same principles in real life. Now, therefore, what Danny did was pretty amazing.
Yep.
87 years old, he goes walking down the street, he comes up behind somebody in Starbucks, and he sees that they order a Frappuccino, and he gives them a thumbs up. And the person looks at him like they're a little crazy, Drayton. Like, why is this guy watching what I'm ordering? And then the guy goes and takes a seat, and he sees that this guy over here is having a conversation with somebody about his girlfriend, and he shows him a picture of her, and then Danny leans in and gives him a thumbs up again. And the people are looking at him like, hey, this guy's a little wacky. Walks down the street and he sees this guy and holds up his phone and says, hey, you ever seen my kitty cat? Look at my kitty cat. And the guy's like, okay. And he's slowly backing up. He's like, this is amazing. Everywhere I go, I'm meeting people. I've got new friends. He's walking down the road sharing information, showing his garden, showing his friends off to people, listening to conversations, giving everybody a thumbs up wherever he goes. And it was really, came up, he called his friend up. He said, hey, you ain't got to get a computer. You ain't got to get on Facebook. I went out and tried the real thing. I've already got people following me. I got 2 police officers, a psychiatrist, and a private investigator.
I love that. I love that story.
But it's a true story.
True story.
It's a true story, and when we saw it, we died laughing. Because you know what we thought of? You got to get back out there and have conversations. And wouldn't it be nice if we knew how to treat people exactly the same way in real life as we do on social media? What would the world look like?
That's right.
And so while we're doing all that, don't forget, I don't know if you have your phone, but don't forget that you've already let your phone replace your calendar, your clock, your agenda, your email, everything's on it, right? Don't let it replace your family. Be careful. And while you're at it, give yourself a like. Everybody, give yourself a like for the drone out there. Give yourself a big like because you deserve a big like for being here right now. That's the real truth. You got to watch out for the negative people. And what you see sometimes behind the screens isn't real. And you have to start getting back out again to build the business. You got to leave your comfort zone. You cannot choose your family, but you can choose your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. You get to choose your friends wisely. Be smart with it. Tell your mind what you want, and not only is it going to be possible, but it's going to happen. You cannot let the negative thoughts of other people rent space in your mind. You must get rid of them and establish boundaries. You can ask all my girlfriends down there. We have a very strong circle of people. And if you're not positive, Mary, right? What do we say? You out. You out. You can't be in this circle unless you're positive. You got to protect yourself. Just as you were protecting yourself if you had a cold or if somebody around you had the flu by washing your hands and avoiding contact with them. That's what you have to do. And if you don't know it, Marty, by the way, it's so good to see you here. Marty Weissman. So good to see you here. Marty Weissman's in the house. I love you. Right, Marty, they got to keep the positive people in their life. But let me tell you something that maybe somebody hasn't told you yet. You're allowed to break up with people. You're allowed to break up with whoever you want. You're allowed to break up with friends. You're allowed to break up with family. Let me tell you something. Jared and I did all that in the early days. We took a mental vacation from my dad. As I told you many times, my dad used to tell me, you're never going to amount to anything. You think you're going to grow up one day and live in a fancy house. That's like living in Disney World, sweetie. Ain't going to happen. You can take mental vacations from people, even if they're your family. You're allowed to break up with people and do what's good for you. Because some poisonous people come disguised as friends and family. Pay attention. Stand guard of the door of your mind and make sure you protect yourself and never place any thought in your mind that you wouldn't want to be there. And so because of it, on August 16th, 2022, Andrew, as you know, JR wrote me an email. And he said, you know, I want to do something different on stage next convention, and we're here. So I'm going to do it anyway to honor him. He wrote me he wanted to perform brain surgery on stage for the first time. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
And I remember
stage.
being in Greenwich in your living room after he sent you that email. I think it was after dinner we were talking, right? And you brought it up, and we started to talk about how fun that would be. He was really very excited about doing this brain surgery with you.
He did.
You know, on stage at the next event.
And if you remember what happened 4 days later before we went away, he said, I already ordered our jackets. And our jackets arrived. JR's jacket arrived. And so today, JR, I'm going to do everything you wanted me to do, and we're going to perform brain surgery on this stage because he believed that we were born into a society of rules and policies, procedures, structure, compliance, and standards that limit us in every way, and that we would never see opportunity if it was right in front of us, and we had to clean up our stinking thinking. He used to believe that we had to clean up our stinking thinking and start over again, right? Brainwash ourselves in the right way, because you can brainwash yourselves, and your thoughts can either make you sick or they can make you well. So we got to start doing something right now. So I don't know about you, Andrew, But I'd love to say that we were really trained by the best.
The best brain surgeon there ever was.
I mean, the
And
best.
he's all about duplication.
He really is.
We're so fortunate.
Let's take a look at what it was like when Jay would program our brains to become a hopeless success.
So here I am in the control center of the brain. You can hear and see that there's a lot going on here. And look at the wall of thousands of switches that are controlled by the programming input into the brain from what we accept from others, what we hear, what we feel, what we see, experience, think, and most importantly, say to ourselves. Now I'm going to go in and actually do some programming of the brain. First, it begins with a realization, an insight, an idea or thought that you get or accept. A billionth of a volt snaps across your cerebral cortex when you make up your mind. That's all it takes to change your identity and begin programming your mind. That's exactly what happened to Elizabeth Weber when I got inside her brain. First, she was open-minded and receptive because she already began programming her brain by being around positive people, by rejecting negative people, by going to seminars and events. You see, what you put in front of your eyes and what you listen to and accept from others and what you experience and feel programs your brain. That programmed hope, and it programmed a positive attitude, an I can attitude. And because of that programming, it programmed the brain to overcome her fears. So, it shut off her fears, it programmed the right attitude, and it caused her to have the hope necessary to build the business. We would figure out exactly what she had to do to get there so that her brain could logically see how it would happen and accept it. So we programmed logic, and the logic made her brain understand how it was going to happen. Then Elizabeth began to think like a success. She refused to think negatively. That caused her to act, and she overcame fear by taking action. So her brain was actually programmed to make her act. But most important, throughout it all, she talked to herself, which is the most powerful form of programming. She would say, I am the best. I will prove that it works, and I will set the pace. She would say to herself, it's the greatest opportunity for the average person. And over again, she would say, Market America is the greatest company. I am the top UFO and distributor. I believe in my people. They are the best, and I empower them. I can do anything I want to do. I am the proof. This is powerful programming, and her thinking made her dreams manifest into reality because she demonstrated success all the time. So her brain was actually programmed to make her dreams come true. And most importantly, she refused to listen to negative people or to complainers and immediately put them in their place. There wasn't a problem that she couldn't solve. She responded with strength rather than weakness as a leader. So she was actually programmed to be responsive to her people and to respond to situations. She became a creative problem solver as well as a creative duplicator. It was nearly effortless after that because she programmed herself to be a hopeless success, and as a result, she programmed her brain to be one, and the rest just happened. She was also programmed to be the spirit of Market America. Her brain actually caused her to be the spirit of this business. Ladies and gentlemen, she wasn't always like that. She was just like you. Let me leave the Brain Control Center now and show you exactly how to program your brain.
Oh, wow. Here we go. We got an emergency, huh?
It's an emergency. This is one of the worst patients I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Wow. This is serious. Thank God we were trained by the best, Dr. Vasquez.
There's some stinking thinking over here.
This is incredible.
It's
We
an
got to
emergency.
operate. No,
Well, it's an emergency.
this is a serious problem. We got to operate on this guy's thinking here, right?
Hang on,
Oh, he
hang
looks
on.
he
Let me
looks
get-
like a mess, though.
Let me get situated here.
Well, you
so
can
I
get situated all you want. This guy's a real mess. Did you get him knocked out? Not
Here we
quite
go.
enough.
I don't need no surgery. I'm perfect
Oh,
the way I
God,
am.
this guy is a mess.
Well, listen, hold on. We have Dr. Vasquez here, who's our anesthesiologist.
Well,
got
yeah,
him.
I
Wait a
could-
minute. Let's make sure he's sedated here before we start.
I got him. I got him. Couple
Look, he's
CCs.
like, oh, God, well, we got to really focus on really programming his brain to become a hopeless success. I think that this guy really needs it.
Well, that's a good thing because this guy is so negative. He really needs this surgery. So thank goodness he's in here, and he has the best brain surgeons that there is available now because we learned from the best in history.
We learn from the best in history, but we got to really focus. This is going to take some work, Andrew. I think we're going to, you got the
Not
tools
negative.
ready?
I'm positive. I'm positive.
Yeah, you're positively negative, that's for sure. But we're gonna operate on your thinking and clean it up. Get that scaffold ready.
Okay. So now, for the first incision, let's operate on his brain. So
Are
he
you
can be more
sure that's
positive.
sharp enough?
Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
We
Because
got to operate on his
we have
thinking.
additional tools,
We got to
right?
keep this guy down here, man. I mean, this is incredible, and that's a
he's a
really
tough
good
one.
place to start. This guy complains all the time. When they were willing him in, Dr.
Oh, man, you should
Vasquez.
have heard him in the back. It was nonstop.
Non-stop complaining. Let's just start. Let's open him up, Andrew. We're gonna have to crack this
I
guy's.
don't complain. What are you talking
Oh
about?
God, let's
Take
give
it
him
easy,
some
take
more
it easy.
anesthesia.
Dr.
This guy's out of
Dr.
control.
Vasquez, more anesthesia, please.
More
Can I
anesthesia,
get the other
please.
tool?
Here you go.
Let's get these
Okay.
tools,
Doc.
right? I mean, they're gonna have
right.
to crack.
If we can go forward a little bit with the notes, that'd be great.
Okay, we're gonna have to.
There we go. So now,
We're gonna
Ready for the
operate.
next
Yes,
incision.
we're gonna operate on his brain so he quits making excuses. As you know, this guy has made more excuses than you could possibly imagine.
he makes excuses for everything.
It's
Personal life, business
unbelievable.
life. All he does is make excuses.
Yeah.
I can't go to the UBP.
Oh,
My
God.
favorite show's on
More
that night.
anesthesia. More anesthesia,
This
please,
is
Dr. Vasquez.
Let me crank it
unbelievable.
up.
This is unbelievable. Let's give him some more anesthesia. Guy's out of control.
So listen, so far so good, Dr. Reidinger.
I don't know. So far, so not good. This is a lot of work.
We're ready for the next incision.
All right, well, let's
And now
go.
we're going to operate on the part of his brain so he stops worrying about what other people
Oh, God.
think.
If he only realized how little people thought of him, we'd be doing all right now.
Oh, I'm so worried about what people think about me.
Oh,
Okay,
my
okay.
God.
Go, Dr. Vasquez, more anesthesia, please.
I think I need something a little stronger for this guy. Hold on, guys. Hold
I
on.
mean,
I'm going to
it's
just put him
crazy.
out. I think we got him.
Thank God we got him knocked
perfect,
out. And the
perfect.
most important part of the brain we got to work on this guy is instilling belief in himself. Dr. Vasquez, we got a problem here. I mean, this guy needs to have belief in himself.
Because it all starts with his thinking and his programming, right?
It really
if we can
does.
reprogram his brain with this surgery, which I think we successfully did, it's going to create his beliefs. His beliefs are going to create his attitudes. His attitudes are going to create his feelings. His feelings are going to determine his actions. And of course, his actions are going to determine his results.
Absolutely.
But being that we're the best there is available now because we learned from the
Well,
very
we
best in
learned
history,
from the very best in history, and
hopefully
I
it
think
was a success.
Well, hopefully it was a success and that knife was sharp enough that you used. But I do think that we made some progress here. And let's hope, Dr. Vasquez, if you don't mind, if you could take him back to recovery for about 4 hours.
I'll take care of this
We'll
patient.
check on him when he's done.
Okay, good.
You know what I mean? But here's the point. It's not about we don't do these things to make you laugh. And I hope you realize that about JR. We didn't do those things to make you laugh. We do those things to make a point. JR wanted you to reprogram your thinking. He wanted you to reprogram your brain in order to become a hopeless success.
Exactly.
And that was what was so important because it is really time to do that. You cannot save someone who's not willing to save themselves. By the way, I love this, that this jacket came, you see it? I don't know if you can see it. It said Dr. J.R. Reidinger. Ava, I'm going to throw it to you and let you have it. How's that? That's for you and Adrian. You cannot save people who don't want to save themselves, Andrew, as you know. And negative people have a problem for all your solutions. Think about that. And it's time to stop thinking that you know it all and just listen and follow the blueprint for success. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel, right? You really have to be open to learning and be coachable, right, Andrew? Here we go. Okay. Andrew, let's do this, baby. We really have to focus on doing the result-producing activities, Andrew. It's so important. I see that you want to learn. I get it. I love it. I'm going to teach you how to do the result-producing activities.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
This
Yeah.
is fantastic, Andrew. I love this. Wow, Andrew, let's do it. Let's make this happen.
Right.
Andrew, we got to go to the events. We're going to learn from the best. Did you purchase your tickets to the next convention, Andrew?
Loren, the next convention's not for another 6 months from now. I'm going to buy them right before the event.
Andrew, you can't be that way. You got to have those tickets burning a hole in your pocket. Did you try the OPC3 I gave you? It's a lifesaver. You got to be a product of the product, Andrew.
Loren, the products are not important in this business.
Oh, Andrew,
At
this
all.
is ridiculous. You've got to follow the blueprint for success. You're making this harder than it needs to be. We have a systemized approach, Andrew. Are you listening to the audios I gave you? You need to stay in the environment. You got to learn from the people who've already done it. It's the shortcut to success, Andrew.
I have my own atmosphere. I listen to myself, and it's great.
Andrew, are you filling the bean jar? It's a numbers game, man. We got to do this together.
Loren, I'm going to sponsor only 2 people. They're going to build a business, and I'm going to make all the money.
Andrew, it doesn't work that way. You're doing it all wrong. My God, Andrew, you're doing it all wrong. Let me help you. You're going nowhere fast, like a hamster on a treadmill. Jared was right. I'm tired of you trying to make it harder. What are you doing? I want you to practice showing the plan, Andrew. Andrew, we can teach you.
I created my own presentation. It only takes 5 minutes, and it's awesome.
This is ridiculous, Andrew. This is unbelievable. JR was right. It's hard. I'm tired of trying to make them follow the system. You're making it harder than it needs to be. You're turning this into a job. I wish JR was here. I so wish JR was here because he's the only person that you would listen to.
Andrew, do it the right way. Follow the system. Are you filling the funnel? Are you shaking the bean jar? Do you have your tickets for the next convention? No? You're not doing it the unfranchised way. You're making a job out of this. You're doing it the wrong way. You're going to make the unfranchised turn into a job. Come on, Andrew, you can't do it that way. Are you ready to do it my way? Are you ready to join me?
Now, Andrew, when you don't do the business the right way, you're going to run hard like a job and not make it.
Like a hamster on a treadmill.
Andrew, you're a hard worker. I love you too much. You want me to help you? I want you to stop.
I want you to join us in the unfranchised and do it the unfranchised way so we can be successful and have a residual income for the rest of our life. Because it don't
Come
work
on.
making the unfranchised into a job, not following the system. And you're going to get ahead because I know you're dedicated. Someday
I gotta
you'll
tell
be able
you.
to retire. Someday you're going to be at the top.
You could better put your time in non-franchise and have a residual income. But that's how you do it. You got to get off the treadmill, do it in Market America, but do it the right way.
Andrew, come on. Thank God you're in great shape. My God.
I don't know about that. I can't breathe right now.
Well, luckily for you, I brought you a water too.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
I got to tell you, you were incredible. And I have to tell you guys, the 2 to 3 year program doesn't start when you sign the application. It begins when you get in mentally, when you get committed. It comes from everything you do behind closed doors. Where are your values? What kind of work will you put in behind the scenes? Right, Andrew?
Exactly.
That's really what matters. Because everyone can do the business, but not everyone will. And success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. And dreams without goals are simply just dreams. You must apply discipline and consistency in order to accomplish them, or you're doing things backwards. You need to work harder on yourself than you do at your job. Life is a short trip. It really is a short trip.
You know,
Andrew.
Loren, JR taught us about the law of the universe, the creation
Yes.
cycle. He talked about the fact that everything starts out as a thought, an idea, a goal, or a dream. And you just simply need to focus on it, visualize it, concentrate on it, which starts to create belief. And as you start to believe, you begin to act as if. You start to demonstrate through taking action. And it's from those actions that the original thought, idea, goal, or dream will manifest, become a reality. But what I love about JR is the fact that not only did he teach this, he practiced it. He practiced it over and over and over again.
He really did. He really did. Why don't you take a seat for the next couple minutes?
No, I'm okay.
He did. He practiced it over and over again. And the thing I loved about JR is he never asked you to do anything he didn't do himself. And so over the last 12 months, as Amber and I have cleaned out to find little notes that maybe only we would know what they mean, Andrew and I came across one that was so special. And it was JR's goals that we wrote down when we were dating in 1989. The first one, as you can see, is it says, his material goals were, the first one was to have $1 million net worth.
Well, he ended up with $1 billion. Yeah. But it was the process. He had a goal, a dream.
It's not about what he had. It's about what he did.
Exactly.
And then he wanted a second home. He always dreamed that we would have a little summer home on the beach somewhere.
He
And he
ended up with
enjoyed
7 of them.
Huh?
Yeah, I think 6 or 7 homes, whatever you
This
have
guy.
now. Once
It's
again,
too much.
the process was there.
It was the process. The third one he wrote down, and I always found this one funny. When I found it, it said yacht. Now, what I love about JR is he spelled it wrong, of course. Because as all of us know, spelling wasn't important to JR, right, Lisa? It just wasn't. And he wrote down he wanted a 40-foot yacht.
Ended up with a 210-footer. Once again, the law of the universe, the creation cycle. He thought it first. You have to think it first in order for it to become a reality. If you go through the process,
And again,
take action.
Here's the thing. In his own writing, this was his goals. In 1989, he wanted a Mercedes coupe, a tennis court, a motor coach. He gave up on that one. We decided that would be way too messy. He wanted an office complex. Mark knows we built one of the most beautiful ones. And of course, he wanted a Learjet, and JR was way too smart. He realized that it was a whole lot cheaper to charter than to buy your own jet. And he was really smart, right?
Exactly.
He really was.
Without
he knew that
question.
the difference between success and failure
It's very simple.
was very simple.
The individual who succeeds simply does what the individual who failed did not do or was not willing to do. It's all about taking action. What's interesting to note is the fact that doing what we've always done takes time, effort, and energy. So let's use a portion of that time, that same time, effort, and energy, and do something different in order to get a different result. Don't expect to get a different result if you continue to do the same thing.
That's so key. Remember how many times Jared would say that. And so, you've heard a lot this weekend. You've heard a lot about what you need to do. And so many times we're here and we're like, yeah, we're going to go out there and make it happen. I'm going to go out there and tear this thing up. And all of a sudden, you get home and your team's not there to support you and you're afraid to take that single step right from here to here to make a difference in your life. You're afraid to step out of the comfort zone. You're afraid to do the work. You're afraid to do the things. And you think you got to go all the way to the end in order to achieve success. If you just realize the first step you took out of the box, you're on your way. All you need to do is step 1 foot out of the box and make a big difference. And that's very important. You can clap for that because you're right. All you have to do is step 1 foot out of the comfort zone and make a difference. And, I hope we made a difference for Colin.
Well, I'm pretty confident we did.
You think so?
We learned from the best.
Dr. Vasquez, how's Colin doing in recovery over there? How's he doing? Oh, God.
Oh,
there he is.
come on. I'm ready to tear this thing up. Let's go. Who's ready to tear it up? 90-day fast track, go berserk, just like JR taught us. After that surgery, I could not be more crystal clear. How about you after this weekend? How many of you guys are crystal clear?
Couldn't be better. Couldn't be better.
How many of you guys recognize that it's about what Loren was just saying? It's about step by what?
Step.
By
Step.
Thank you. It's the simple steps that we have to focus on. But you have to clear all the distractions, all the clutter like Loren's been talking about out here. Every single one of us have life happening. True or true? Absolutely. But we have to get out of our own way. Have you been learning some things here this weekend? How many of you have had to unlearn some things? Meaning some of the things that we thought to be true aren't really true.
Absolutely
See,
right.
we're reprogramming the brain again. So let me wrap this up into a pretty bow. Simple works, complicated does not. And yet, most people overcomplicate it on purpose. Why? So that way you have an excuse. Now, I know that's none of you. I know that, but you may know some people that overcomplicate some things, so then therefore they have the excuse. But I know it's not you, and how do I know that? Because you're here. Isn't that great news? Come on, isn't that great news? Thank you. Fantastic. You know, the great thing about the business is you don't have to throw a Hail Mary. You don't have to take the football and throw it all the way to the end. In our mind, though, our mind wants to think about it from this standpoint. We're going to go from here to the end of the stage. And you got to remember, the mind's primary job is protection. It's to keep us safe. So therefore, we don't have the obstacles come in our path. It was like way over there. So say that with me. Way over there. Our brain's like, oh my gosh, it's so far over there, and I'm trying to get over there, but I have so many steps that I need to take. Would you guys agree with that? One thing I always loved about JR is he would say with the keys. If the key to success, but we have 100 different keys. But again, we got to simplify. What's that word?
Simplify.
Thank you. And so therefore, we're going to go step by what?
Step
By
step.
And then it's really about the consistency and repetition. It's about progress. What's that word?
Progress.
Thank you. And by the way, what would JR also always say? Progress
Equals
happiness. Isn't that what he always used to say?
Yes.
100%. And so we're going, and what a lot of people don't realize, and if you see on the stage here, there's a line here. There's a line on the stage. Our brain's like it's way over there. And yet, right here, we're standing in the heat. We're getting a little bit uncomfortable. Anybody ever gotten uncomfortable in here, by the way?
Yes.
Because that means we're growing, right?
Yes.
But we're standing here, and all of a sudden it gets hot. It's getting warm. It's like, scared to death. But right here, one more step. Success wasn't over there. It was like, boom, right there. One more step. You were right there. You were right there. But yet, a lot of people get right to the edge. We get right to the edge and we go, wasn't meant to be. Wasn't meant to be. It's time to stop making excuses. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to go step by step. And one key element here, by the way, is to celebrate. What's that word? Thank you. You know, one thing I noticed this weekend, Loren and Andrew, we celebrated a lot. And we're going to celebrate tonight, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
And as we celebrate, some of you don't stand up. It's just an awareness. Don't shoot the messenger. But you don't stand. It's like, hey, everyone, please stand up. Let's celebrate. Some of you just sit there. And you know what makes me sad? You sit there, and I say to myself, if you're just sitting there while we're celebrating all of the success stories, are you celebrating for you when no one's watching? How many of you are celebrating for you when no one's watching? See, and what happens is we have the little steps to success, but our mind, your mind, takes us out. You want to celebrate everyone else's success, so we're in no judgment of that success, so we could follow behind. Great or great?
That's great.
Turn to somebody, give them a high five, and say, we got this.
We got this.
Yes.
All right. Great job. Great job. Now, just by you high-fiving somebody, you feel that you raised, what's that word? Thank you. That was 100% there. That wasn't like raise. That was raise. What's that word? Thank you. So let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. This is going to be the UFO. But by the way, only respond if you're a self-proclaimed leader. If you're a self-proclaimed leader, then I want you to respond. How many of you can write out a goal statement and read it 2 times a day? Level 10? Was that level 10?
think
Or
so.
was that like 7.5?
We're getting there.
7.5. See, sometimes we got to call each other on our stuff because we don't recognize it's like, hey, man, well, a little bit. No one's going to say nothing. No one's going to know. It's just like, if you ain't playing at 100% in here, you aren't going to play at 100% when you get home. I'm just going to tell you that because you're already in the environment, as Loren talked about. We're in the atmosphere. So, how many of you can write and read a goal statement and read it 2 times a day? Oh. Okay. All of a sudden, we raise the energy, see? Now, next question. How many of you can listen to an audio or video every single day? Okay, awesome. And how many of you can fill out that home shopping list and check it off and replace your products that you're already ordering from other stores and buy from yourself? Come on, let me hear you. So you're going to be a product of the product. By the way, we had an amazing day yesterday all about products of the product.
Yes, we did.
Taking you through each tool in the toolbox from start to what? From start to what? Awesome, right? It was unbelievable. Now, how many of you, now don't get nervous on me. Don't get nervous. Are you nervous? No, because we got this, right? All right. How many of you can do 2 evaluation approaches every single week? Now, didn't Drayton and his team absolutely slay it on day 1? Absolutely slayed it. Start to finish approaches. We're going to show that plan. We're going to make it happen. And as we're showing the plan, guess what? People are going to lead to what?
People.
And then they're going to lead to more what?
People.
Yeah. And then a few people along the way might have some objections. So they even helped you overcome that. So no excuses. No what?
Excuses.
Thank you, absolutely. And how many of you can show the plan every single week? And how about our president and COO, Mark Ashley and Andrew Weissman, Kevin Buckman, everybody showing the plan. Wednesday night we showed the plan, then the next day we showed you exactly how to show it. It couldn't get more easier. How many of you guys can do that?
Yes.
Now, this is a big one. This is a big one. How many of you can buy and invest? You ain't spending money. You're investing. You're investing. You're committing to show everybody that you talk to that you're all in. How many of you can invest in 3 tickets to Leadership Academy? Okay. How many of you guys have ever heard talk is?
See.
How many of you already invested in those 3 tickets? Let me hear you. Okay. And then we're going to measure, monitor, control, and adjust. So here's the $1 million question. You all said you can do all those things. And that's how simple it is, by the way. That is all it is. This weekend, a lot of information. But we're not going to overcomplicate it, are we? We're going to keep it simple. So that how many of you know you can, how many of you will? You know, we've been spending a lot of time here as we're getting back out in the field, right, Loren and Andrew, working in the field and working with people, making things happen. Somebody said, are you going to come to my area? Are you going to come to my area? I'm like, I don't know. Let's look at your numbers. Let's look at what's going on in your area. Are you guys rocking? Are you guys making it happen as a team? You know, I just want to shout out some people that are really making things happen out in the field because this is where the rubber meets the road. Because again, like JR says, we have to become successful, so what? So other people will follow. Lisa and John Tolbert, kicking butt, making it happen. Tammy Hu, San Diego, killing it. Don and Lisa Martin, rocking and rolling. Amber Yang, in the trenches, making it happen. Dr. Cheryl Duchess, absolutely same. Some of these people have been in the business over 20 years. And guess what? Still priming that pump. Still priming, which means they're still showing up, still making it happen, right? Richard and Stephanie Ng, killing it. Some guy named Drayton. Making it happen. Hey, he's a director. He's a director. He don't got to show up no more. What? No, he needs more directors, and he gets it. He's absolutely slaying that. What about Al Yench? Al Yench. Always making it happen. Barb and Fred Bull. Beth and Pitt Black. Emily Panito. Bonnie Hunter.
Let's get Beth.
Norman Mary Roth.
Said Beth and Beth.
Norman Mary Roth. You know, when I called Norman Mary Roth, when I called them to say, you hit the dash, you hit the, what are you going to do? You hit the chairman's challenge. What are you going to do with the dash? They said, we did? Because this is what they do. They didn't have to think about it. This is who they are. You heard Elizabeth talk about. What's your name? Market America. What do you do? Shop.com. You live it, see? You live it. That's how you know if you know something. You're rocking and rolling. And I know there's so many more of you that are making it happen. And we're going to take it to the top together. All in? Love you guys. That's awesome.
Seems like we did a great job on your thinking.
We got a new person here, a new unfranchised owner. Right attitude, the right perspective, right way of thinking.
And I
right
love
programming.
you guys. We really did do a great job reprogramming your thinking, and proud of you. And that's what you have to do. You have to do the same thing, right, Andrew?
Exactly right. You know, Loren, myself, Cullen, you know, we're not trying to sell anybody in here a dream because we can't sell you something that you already have, right? We're just simply focused on what it takes to deliver your dreams. And it's all about making a decision to take action in order to develop the habits that'll ensure your success so you can reach your personal and financial goals. Very simple, just like you did. Great job, Cullen.
Absolutely. I love you guys, and I want to thank you guys because you guys were awesome this weekend. I'm going to finish up for the next 30 minutes. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for wrapping that up, Cullen, in a nice bow. It's really amazing. You know, it's incredible, and I wanted Cullen to come wrap that up in a 15-minute bow for us because I think it's important after you see so many things over the weekend, you say, where do I begin? That's what you got to do. You know, the funny thing about this business is we don't ask you to do 100 things. We just ask you to do 5, 6, 7 things consistently and do them over and over and over again. And most people don't like to work on consistency because that seems boring. But I got to tell you, that's what gets the results. And if you want to make it, all that matters is what you're willing to do. Don't do this business for others. When people quit the business, it's very important for you to remind yourself that not everyone will go on this journey with you. Not everyone will make it, but you will. Not everyone will make it, but you will. And what they do has nothing to do with you. That's all that you got to remember. And you really have to make a decision what you want the rest of your life to look like. And that's one of the things I'm working on also. It's like, what do you want the rest of your life to look like? Do you want it to be average or you want it to be memorable? And I can assure you of this. I'm going to make sure that the rest of our life here with this organization, for however long it goes on, for generation after generation after generation after generation, is memorable. That's what we're going to do. It's going to be memorable. But which path will you pick? Which path will you pick, right, James and Marion? It's all the decision that somebody has to make within themselves. You see, you work 8 hours a day to live for somebody else. You work 6 days a week for somebody else to enjoy 1. Work 8 hours for them to eat in 15 minutes to 30 minutes a day. You work 8 hours a day to only sleep 5. You work all year long for somebody else in order to take a week or 2 vacation. You work your entire life to retire in old age only to contemplate in your last breath the things you didn't do. And eventually you realize that you've become so accustomed to your life that you don't even see the chains that hold you down. You have to do something. And the crazy thing about it is we do the same thing to our children. You see, you remember Jerry used to say he was a big believer in education. He always had a big, strong rule in our house that you had to get a great education, thank God. Amber always did, and that made him proud. But he also believed we have an obligation to teach children how to dream. And that's not taught in school. Unfortunately, it's not taught in school. And so we claim to prepare our kids for the future, but really I question if we prepare them for the past. I question if we prepare them for the past because we make them sit nice and neat and sit still, raise their hand if they want to speak, give them a short break to eat, and for 8 hours a day we tell them how to think in order for them to make an A and compete with other kids. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I do. And more so, I think that one of the most insidious forms of child neglect is a parent who doesn't chase their dreams or their potential and their kids see it. In turn, right, Joanne, in turn, teaching those children how not to go for their goals and dreams. You know, this weekend has been very special, and, you know, Christian Vasquez and Mike Breckenridge on our team that nobody ever sees behind the scene, who worked with JR for 30 years behind that stage. I just like, can you guys just come to the stage so everybody can see you guys? For 30 years.
Thank you.
For 30 years. 30 years, these two guys have been the two guys behind JR, like the Wizard of Oz. And you know, I asked both of them probably far too many times and drove them crazy, but after JR passed, I asked them so many times, was anything different? Did he say anything different? Did anything act different? And they were like, nope. JR gave his greatest performance on stage. What you saw is what you got. One thing I saw this weekend, Christian, I want to praise you for a second because you are an incredible father. He had his 15-year-old son, Makai. Makai, can you stand up for a second, honey? He had his 15-year-old son. Just come around here for a second. For 1 second, Makai. He had his 15-year-old son come to this convention and be at every presentation on time. Because Christian believes that schools don't teach kids how to dream. And so he sat in every single seminar and every segment that happened this weekend. And about a month ago, he also invited him to come to our training that we did with Philadelphia at my home in Connecticut. And about 2 weeks ago, Makai sent me a text and said, Aunt Loren, when we were at Team Philadelphia's meeting, they talked about a product called Mocotonics, giving them power and energy and to help change their bodies. Would you mind sending me some? I said, it would be my pleasure. And I sent some to him, and he's been trying it every single day, using it and making such progress. Philadelphia, you inspired him. You inspired him. I love you. But let me tell you something. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. I don't know any school or any place that can instill that type of belief in a 15-year-old other than this environment. Would you agree? Last night, he spent the night with my grandchildren at the house. Amber came home and said, Mom, Makai's on fire. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, he's in the car and he's trying to sell me the plan. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, I don't know. He listened to some people up on stage and he just told his dad he needs his credit card to buy a pair of shoes. He's going to have a giveaway. And everybody who gets in the business is going to get a raffle ticket. They're going to buy a product. When they buy a product, they get another raffle ticket, and they can register up to 4 times every time they buy 4 products. And he goes, before you know it, he goes, they're going to have lots of raffle tickets. They're going to win the sneaks, and I'm going to have 5 and 5 on my left and right. I love you, and I'm proud of you. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning, Makai. We have to live life, guys. We have to teach our kids to live life. Education's important. Dreaming's more important. Dreaming is more important. Life is a short journey. We have to teach our kids how to collect memories and do it with them. When I grew up, my parents didn't take me on vacation. We didn't get to do things like that, Joanne. We didn't have the money, right? It's a different world today. You need to teach your daughters less about fitting into glass slippers and more about shattering glass ceilings. That's the bottom line. It's on you. You have to do that. It is your role, your responsibility. You must take responsibility for the next generation. Get great at what you can control. Get great at what you want to be great at. Get great at your work, no matter what happens in this crazy world, because you are only left with you. Get great with you. That's what you need to do. You know, we all deep down know who we are. We know what drives us. We don't know exactly what the destination looks like, but our hearts know the direction best suited to help get us where we want to go to begin the person that you're becoming. So how is it easy, so easy to forget and get our wires crossed? That life becomes about meeting requirements and fulfilling obligations and checking off the boxes and checking in on time and forgetting the basics. And we forget to live for ourselves. As if our job is to play a part in the movie of our life and not direct the movie. Playing a part in the movie of you is living up to expectations, but directing it is different. You must direct your life. You must create your own expectations. The world belongs to you. The world believes in you. And freedom is not a life without chaos. Life has battles. Look at me. Look at me. Life has battles. But it's all about the intention of where you're going. And I got to tell you, I know exactly where I'm going. And I hope you're going to go with us. I hope you're going to go with me and Mark and the team to do what we have to do, because it's your obligation. It's your life. There are no perfect beginnings. You just need to begin. It's a difference between being a thinker or a doer. You got to let the pain and the chaos be your own. You got to let action start it right now. Don't worry about being perfect, and be imperfect and transform it into greatness. Worst case is not that your life ends. Worst case is that you're one step closer to where you want to be. You got to convince yourself there's more for you. Think about that. You got to pause the idea that you need that job that you have, or that girl or that boy that you like, or that husband or wife who doesn't support your ass when you're at home, who doesn't believe in you and doesn't even like you sometimes, doesn't even treat you with respect. Let me tell you something. Somebody don't treat you with respect at home, get rid of them. End of story. You deserve more. You deserve more. You should not have anyone in your house that doesn't believe in your dream. There's enough of that shit going on in the world. You don't put up with it. You believe in you, Taiwan. You got it. You show up for you. You got to show up for you. You got to build on the days that you want to and build on the days that you don't want to. You've got to be consistent. And when you push to get there, you get to live above the clouds. You see, much of society lives in a cell. People lock themselves inside of a prison that's constructed in their own mind. And it tells us what we can do and what we can't do. Has anyone ever seen the movie Shawshank Redemption? There you are. There's Don and Lisa Martin. I've been looking for you all weekend. I love you guys. You guys, by the way, are so amazing. Got both of their kids here. Both of their kids. There's Haley. I see you, Haley. I love you. Listen to me. I love you guys. Don Martin, just want you to know, Jared Reidinger loved you so much. one of his favorite people on the planet. So, you know what? Just keep growing. Keep going. Stop constructing the prison in your mind. Shawshank Redemption, if you ever saw it, it was an incredible movie, but hard to watch. These guys build their world, Andrew, in this prison. Mary and I were talking about it last night. They build their world in this prison. And then when the guy Brooks finally gets out after 40 years, and he takes one step out the door into freedom, he's uncomfortable. Because he's so used to being in the prison, he doesn't know what freedom looks like anymore. And all he wants to do is go back to prison. And what does he end up doing? He ends up killing himself. Because he's constructed a jail in his mind. Think about that. We do that day after day, year after year. This is the hardest prison to escape from. This is the hardest prison to escape from. It has bars. It's not safe. You must escape from this. You've got to tell yourself that you can do this. We see everything in terms of shoulds and shouldn'ts and cans or can'ts. And oh, you shouldn't do those things, Elizabeth. You're good. You should just stick to doing stuff you're good at. You can't do that. You can't do that. You have other responsibilities week after week, month after month, repeating the same thing until the end of your time here. Let me tell you something. You have no responsibility other than to you. And the responsibility is absolutely right now. Absolutely right now. You can do what you're doing right now, or you can shake things up a bit. I'm not here to knock anybody's life. If you want to live just an average day-to-day life, normal, and you're happy, so be it. I'm just here to tell you what can happen if you decided to shake things up just a little bit. I want you to be inspired to become the entrepreneur that you're really meant to be because you're here. And I truly believe in my heart that you're here for a reason. You already have a job. Some of you already have a job. And I got to tell you right now, it's really important to find the time to work for you, even if that time is after hours. Even if you have to sleep less, even if it's a little time. Even if you've already succeeded at the business and you've slowed down and stopped. Let me tell you something. What happens when people slow down and stop? It's like putting the classic car that's been running for years and throwing it in the garage, and they stop using it. And all of a sudden, Don, the battery gives out, and the car's as good as dead. There's nothing more important than keeping your brain active, keeping your brain challenged. I remember many years ago, I asked JR, hey, what do you think about, I think it was just 2 years ago. It wasn't many years ago. It was a couple years ago. I said, what are you most afraid of as we get older? He said, I don't want to lose my brain. I want to keep my brain active, which is probably why he worked all the time, even when he pretended to be watching a movie with us. He would constantly be working. Let me tell you something. Your brain's a muscle, and if you don't work it, it'll atrophy, and you'll lose function. Get the car out of the garage and go back to work. Get the car out of the garage and go back to work. Think about it. Are you really doing exactly what you need to do? Are you doing all you can do? This was asked by one of Team Philadelphia the other day. Are you doing all that you could do, or could you be doing more? What do you think? Could you be doing more? I could do more. Can you do more? Can we do more? I can't hear you. So instead of slowing down or retiring, how about get out of bed in the morning? Do something that excites you. Embrace the idea of meeting new people, learning new skills, having new experiences. You know, one of the things about Elizabeth and I and JR back in the day is we loved learning. Still do. Go to every meeting like it was our first. We couldn't wait to go. We were the first ones there. Last ones to leave. You remember those days, Elizabeth? We had a hell of a lot of fun. And it's just beginning. And we're going to keep going. And I want you to discover a side of you that you've never seen before. The side of you that all you have to do is change your thinking from working because you have to into working because you want to. Because we're builders and creators and we need a reason to get out of bed in the morning. Do you understand that? And there was something I was thinking about the other day with Andrew. I was thinking about how cool it would be if we could, or Jim and I were talking about it, if we could get seniors to really think about how cool it would be for you to focus on this business. I mean, after 65 years old, the first thing you need to do is focus on you. What about taking all those years of networks, contacts, and get out of the house and start turning your days into a real business and start working for you? Let me tell you something. 60 is the new 40. When you think about it, 40 is the new 60. Think about that. We're living longer than any time in history. Here's the thing. We can live longer and we can live better by taking some of our great products. And here's the thing, it's totally up to you. And guess what? If you think about getting the car out of the garage, you probably need to never worry about making enough money and never have to worry about Social Security, that's for sure. Let me tell you about Social Security, by the way. I have experience with it. My husband paid millions of dollars into Social Security, millions. Not that this company needs the money, nor did I. But I figured I wanted to get the money from Social Security as I'm entitled to and either make a donation or put it away for my kids one day. And when we called for it, you can ask Angel, and I don't know where he is. Angel told me that Social Security said, sorry, I make too much money. Now, let me tell you something. Social Security took my husband's money and couldn't afford to pay it, and that's not fair. That's wrong. That is absolute crap. Do not worry about Social Security because it ain't going to be there for you either. So you better start making some money to take care of your future. You got to drop the cane. You got to drop the cane and stop acting old. You got to get busy. You got to get busy. You got to get busy. Let me tell you something. That was a wake-up call, Elizabeth, a wake-up call. If you're lucky, listen to this. Listen to what I'm going to tell you. If you're lucky, James, you're going to grow old. And if you're very, very lucky, you're going to grow so old, Ben, that when people talk about you, they're going to be surprised to hear that you're still around. And let me tell you something. Everyone wants to stay alive and be younger, but we know that's not possible. No matter what you look like on the outside, even take OPC3 and all the things, you'll stay younger longer, but will eventually look older on the outside. But let me tell you something. The only alternative to growing older is being dead. It's a fact. So grow old, but don't get old. Grow old, but don't get old. Growing old means you're growing. Growing old means you're growing. Grow old, don't get old. Pull the car out of the garage. Fuel it back up and turn it back on. My hope is that you find your future self. Move on from all that doesn't serve you. And just because it already took your time doesn't mean you need to continue letting it steal your time. Maybe your identity right this moment isn't the same as it is tomorrow. And today is the end of yesterday. Stop sleeping on yourself. Stop playing small to fit in. Stop feeling about outgrowing people. Break up with them. You're great. You're it. It's not only about making the money. It's about the freedom. Money doesn't buy happiness. I know that myself personally. Money does not buy happiness, but poverty can't buy shit. It can't buy shit. And let me tell you something. You got to stop comparing yourself to others. Every time you see me, I will be better than me yesterday. It is me against me. The fight is in your mind. I'm going to do it imperfectly. I'm not going to do it for perfection. I'm going to stop waiting for it to be perfect. And if you want permission, I'm giving it to you right now. This is your life. It's time for you to get started. Own your future. It's going to be messy. Yes, baby. I hear you, Penny. I love you. It's going to be messy. You're going to be scared. It's going to be imperfect. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. It's a dogfight between you and you. And if it were easy, everyone would do it. It's a fight for life. It's a road that's crooked. It's painful, but I'm going to get a reward for my pain. You will not break me. You will not defeat me. The only way I lose is if I quit. I am so close. I am so close. You cannot deny me forever. You cannot stop me. You may be able to contain me for a while, but you cannot stop me. You don't have enough strength to stop me. You can be smarter than me, but you can't outwork me. You can't stop me. Nobody can. I want you to make the best, the rest of your life, the best of your life. Listen, you can replace money, but you can't get time back. You can buy a clock with money, but you can't buy more time. I want you to stop waiting for the storm to pass, and I want you to ask yourself what you're willing to do when it rains. I want you to go for it. Life won't get any easier, but we must get stronger. Adversity, pain, trauma. Pain doesn't discriminate. It's going to be hard. I'm not going to worry about what it takes. If somebody asks you what it takes to build this business, what am I going to do, Andrew? How much time do I got to put in? They're worried about return on their investment. Let me tell you something. They had to start worrying about the COI, the cost of their inaction. Okay? You better start worrying about the COI, the cost of your inaction. What you haven't done since last year and you're still here. If you're still here in the same place as you were last year, if you don't notice, I lost him. Time waits for no one. The first step will be your hardest, but you can do it. You belong here. I want the world to give you what's yours. I want you to say, I am not leaving. I don't want to get to the end of my life to only find out that I just lived the length of it. I will mind my own business, but I will pay attention. I will accept people as they are, but I will place them where they belong. And I love you too, honey. And to every door that closed on you, don't you worry, we're coming back and we're going to buy their building. Okay, don't you worry about that. We're taking it back. We're in charge. This is yours. You own it. You own it. You own it. In the world, it belongs to all of you out there. Time on earth is a fleeting experience. The greatest gift in life is to be remembered. The greatest gift in life is to be remembered. And my love, you're going to be remembered forever because you did that. Not because we have to keep you alive. We want to keep you alive because you're keeping us alive. Love you, J.R. Ridinger. Thank you. Thank you. I want you to remember that the greatest was once a beginner. And life is held together by choices. It won't wait for you, so I need you to swallow your pride. There will be no more rewinds, Elizabeth. You don't get more time. James, you got to make a decision to do this, and it's got to be with such firm intention that's impossible for your life not to change. It's just all there is to it. And luckily for you, life is not a zero-sum game. You don't have to stop chasing money to have time. You just need to value time more than you value money. That's what you need to do, and then you can have the best of both worlds. All I want you to do is make a decision that you're going to stop being what other people want you to be, because we create so many people based on what other people want us to be that you never get to be the person you're meant to be, and you end up creating human beings that we don't even know who aren't you. Think about that. It's funny. You have to be who you are every single day. Stop trying to be accepted and like so many people. And begin by starting to love yourself. You got to start to love yourself. The only trick to that is this. You have to start identifying the best, most worthiest thing that you love the most on this earth, and then build your house right on top of it and not budge from it. What you want to be tomorrow, you have to do today. Start now. Start where you are. Start with fear. Start with pain. Start with doubt. Start with your hands shaking. Start with your voice trembling. But start and don't stop. And start with what you have right now and just start, because you're the painting, you're the paintbrush, you're the canvas, you're the answer to the question that you've been looking for. You've got to turn your world and your life into a living, breathing work of art, because anything less would be a tragedy. You already have the skills. You just need the will. And you have that because you're here. And I'm not telling you it'll be easy, but I'm telling you it'll be worth it. If you can't stop thinking about it, don't stop working for it. There are 3 things you cannot recover from life: the word after it's said, the moment after it's missed, and the time after it's gone. Today's the oldest you've ever been and the youngest you'll ever be. And even the longest life is a short one. And I want you to be true to your dreams. I can't give you a brand new start. Your life has already started. But you can have a fresh new start and have a brand new ending. I believe in you guys. Let me tell you something. My husband spent his life up here teaching for 30 years. Andrew Weissman, by the way, thank you for delivering that beautiful presentation about JR's life and his skits. Can we roll the video of JR's alarm clock, please?
Life has been controlled by this. What is this? You're controlled by this. How many people are controlled by this doggone thing? And that's why you don't make it. You're controlled by it. You're too tired to do the business half the time. Every morning that doggone thing rings and you're drug in there by your chain. Isn't that true? My whole life was controlled by bells, orders. It limits you. It controls your life. It prevents things. Imagine that is your master. We have a little ritual every single month, the first of the month, to remind us that we're doing this because we want to do it and because we really are free. I challenge each and every one of you to get rid of this alarm clock. And when that thing rings, I jump out and I smash the thing. When you get to that point in your mind and you step out of your comfort zone and you release yourself from prison in your own mind and you go out of your mind in order to be able to use your head, you're coming alive. You are freed.
I would like to invite my beautiful grandchildren, Aiden, Ava, Adrian, and also Makai up here with me, if you don't mind, to join me for this close. Come on, guys, give it up for my beautiful grandchildren, JR's grandchildren. Remember to make them feel welcome. You know how scary it is as children to walk up here? My best friends, I love you so much. I love you. This is our future. Look at these guys. By the way, I love your outfits, matching Pop-Up, the boss outfits. It's so beautiful. You know what? Pop-Up taught us so many great things. You know, we were talking about this the other day, that Pop-Up taught us to live life, didn't he? He told us that we can be anything we want to be and do anything we want to do as long as we help other people change their lives. Ava, do you want to say anything to Pop-Up?
Yes.
What would you like to say?
Papa, we're gonna make you. We will make you proud. This is just the beginning.
So proud of you. Adrian, do you have something you'd like to say?
Yeah.
What would you like?
Papa was the second Elon Musk.
What? What? Wait a minute. Pop-Up was the second Elon Musk?
Because he created stuff.
I love you. Anything else? I didn't expect that one. Anything else?
Papa opened those sealed doors from heaven to life.
I love you so much. You know, the other day, Adrian's teacher sent me a whole video reel of everything they did in school. And look at this photo that she sent me. Do you see what it says? I believe in you, he wrote. Now, let me tell you something. That has been brainwashed into his thinking. That is what we must do for all of our children. That is what we must do for all of our children. How do you feel?
Good.
You want to say something else? I believe in you.
No, I'm done.
You're done?
I just want to break the alarm clock now.
Well, I'll tell you what, he wants to just break the alarm clock now. So since you want to do that, and by the way, this is Aiden. And Aiden is my mini JR, right? And I'm not going to put any stress on him because he doesn't want to speak, and I understand it. But you know what? Pop-Ups taught us, right? We're not going to be controlled by this. We're not going to be controlled by this. Christian and Mike, we're not going to be controlled by this. Pop-Up taught his grandkids, we don't be controlled by the alarm clock. And this alarm clock has a different meaning to my children now. It means that they have to live life to the fullest. Don't waste a single moment. So if you kiddos don't mind, I'd love for you to smash this alarm clock because I want you to give it all you got for Pop-Up. Come on out, space out. Wait a minute, let's space it out a little bit more. Don't hurt each other. Because you guys are strong. And on the count of 3, just go do it. We won't be controlled by this alarm clock, Pop-Up. You don't have to worry. Go ahead and smash it. I think you guys have smashed it into smithereens. Oh, my God. Okay, Adrian. Wow. You guys might have beat that up more than Pop-Up. And I think that's amazing. Can you guys stay with us up here and just have a seat on that chair? Because I want you to stay with me because, as you guys know, I'm circling the field and coming in for a landing. Let me tell you something. We have an obligation. I have to put my shoes on. I wanted to keep them up, but Adrian smashed that clock so much, there's glass everywhere. And I'm proud of you guys. I believe in you, Adrian. I love you. I believe in all of you. I believe in all of you. And let me tell you something. We won't waste another moment, JR. I hope you find the kind of love in your life that makes you softer, the kind of love that makes you a better man or woman, the kind of love that believes in you and supports you, that stands by your side. And I hope you find someone who quickly becomes your favorite thing, like I did with JR. Someone who makes you fall less fearful. Someone you choose every single day of your life. I hope you find someone who shows you how deeply you can love and just how deeply you can love them. I hope you find something real because nothing is more important than loving someone who loves you back. Nothing is more beautiful than loving someone who builds you a home in their heart. I hope you find the kind of love that exists on your own terms. And I hope you truly take time to figure out what moves you, what encourages you, what moves your soul, and what you deeply crave from life. And I hope you have the courage to chase that. I hope you have the courage to believe that you are deserving of everything you desire, that you are capable and worthy of curating the kind of life for yourself that sparks something within you. I hope you find acceptance, the kind that rings through your bones, the kind that quiets the voice inside of you that tells you you're not good enough. I hope you remember that you're human and it's your life and you have all you need already in order to become a hopeless success. And I hope you find the kind of moments that will take your breath away, the kind of moments that will stick. And I hope you experience things like I did and rediscover your soul. And I hope you witness things that will help you find your way back into hope like I am. And I hope you learn how to be proud of the person that you're now becoming, like I am. And I hope you'll learn to be proud of where you are, even if it's not exactly where you need to be. I hope you learn to fall in love with the process and the messiness of life and the confusion of it all. And at the end of the day, I hope you find what you're looking for out there. And I hope you find something that really inspires you. You see, fate sees tomorrow just as good a day as any for you to die. Jared wasn't done. He had big plans. Big plans on August 31st. But that didn't matter on August 30th. I want you to live life like there's no tomorrow. Because one day you'll wake up and realize there are no more days. Everyone dies, but not everyone lives. Today is never going to happen again. Stace.
You have to realize nobody gets out of life alive. We all have 24 hours a day. Anybody got more? 7 days a week. Anybody find out a way to get 8? Time is running out. That's why we beat it to death. It's the most important thing that somebody can deal with, to wake you up, to understand there's a sense of urgency. You deserve to be able to live and leave a legacy. You deserve it. Time is everything. When Loren was 20, I said, let's go for a ride. I took her to the graveyard. We walked up and down aisles of the gravestones. I said, you know, look at all of these. They're monuments of a life gone by. They were just people like us. I said, Loren, we're alive now. We're alive right now. We will be there. So let's live now. You understand that? I hope that you do. It's funny what happens. The reason that we don't do more and end up here, you know, my inbox is full. I have appointments. And all you have is time between that birth date and death date. We all have a dash. The question is, do you enjoy what you're doing? Time flies. When are you going to live? Are you going to put it off till tomorrow? Next year, next year, next year? Guys, life is fragile. It's precious. You were given a chance to be here. You don't want to leave without being able to say, I really lived. It's a race against time. Some of you guys, when I started with you, you were in your 20s and 30s. And now we're starting to lose people. Incredible people. The people that I built it with are disappearing. I know you've all experienced that with somebody in your life. We don't know. I thought Dennis would be the last to go, that he'd be speaking at my funeral. Look, I'm 70 now. I don't know how I got here. I was always a kid. I was even a kid 5 years ago. You know, I don't want to die without this changing the world. But the years are going by, and I'm afraid of running out of time. I'm at that point tonight. I'm not 30 anymore. I gotta make this thing work. I want to have one more magic moment. One more. Everybody dies, but not everybody lives.
We need to live. We got to make real clear to ourselves what our choice is. Because we only got so much time, and I got a dream. I want to change the world. We're here now. The dash is still there. You better make it count. What are you going to do with the dash?
I gotta tell you, it's somewhat daunting to hear that, isn't it? That was just 12 months ago. Have the team up here, please. Can I have that clock, please? Mike? Mike? Thank you. I gotta tell you guys, Dare, with all my heart, I promise you this. I won't be controlled by the alarm clock. I'm gonna do this with you, for you. I remember everything you taught me. We're never gonna stop. We're gonna make you proud. And we're gonna fill this arena with directors. Whatever it takes, we're gonna do whatever it takes, because I won't let you down. We're a category of one. Mark, we're a category of one. I want to thank you on behalf of Mark and I for this weekend, our team, for giving us back our life, at least for this moment. Magic moments are a test of one's belief. When they're there and they're not sure of the outcome, but they're there anyway, not knowing what will happen next. Tonight is a magic moment for Mark and I. Thank you for believing in us during a time that we're not sure anyone would. We will do anything and everything to keep this thing going. Tonight is a magic moment. I love every single one of you. I know he feels the same. Please go out there and do this for you. Time is the most precious commodity we have. Keep growing. I believe in you. I love you.